All right, everybody, welcome to the 2-minute version, 2-minute drill of the Premier Madden Podcast. Anthony, what's up, dude? It's late.
What's going on, Finn?
It's late as shit,
That's all right.
but I'm up. I'm wired. It's release day. I don't even know if it was intentional release day. EA hasn't even been clear. EA didn't even make an announcement for what I saw. It was just like a couple guys in the
Yeah,
community.
dude.
So, according to some folks, according
What's
to
the speed till tomorrow, right?
What's supposed to be tomorrow. Some people say that they kind of open the floodgates if all goes well the day before, and that the whole concept of releasing it a day early is that, if something were to go wrong with the EA access drop, then they can just say,
Mhm.
oh, well, they have an extra day of troubleshooting. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
once they open it up and test it live and they're like, oh, okay, it's pretty good. All right, cool. And then it obviously that just gets leaked out to the world because everybody's watching in anticipation. So,
Yeah.
um, so it's out. Everybody's finally got like full on access to it. I've played with my two teams in the league, in the two leagues I'm in, the Lions and the Texans. Lots to talk about there, but I'm trying to think, man. Last time we had folks on the podcast, we had the UCMFC or whatever the hell their name was, folks. We really
Yeah.
didn't get to talk much about ratings and rosters and drops, but let's kind of encompass it all, man. It's day one. What did you do? What did you hop into? Head-to-heads, face of the franchise?
I'm such a franchise nerd, dude. I just did a couple simulations of CFMs, kind of see how guys developed, how my team looks when they develop, who needs to be re-signed, what the Madden salary cap looks like, that kind of stuff.
Right. We did a little labbing as well, and I got some pretty wild shit. I was thinking all day of the term to describe that, but I'm just going to go with wild shit. You ready for this? This curveball to
Yeah.
hit you with that's about to change the scope of franchise leagues if it's not fixed or patched.
Let's go.
Okay, so one of the biggest parts about team management is a lot of things. You take over a 3-4 roster. Maybe you want to go 4-3, right? That means changing your outside linebackers to DN. That means changing your defensive ends to defensive tackles. Um, you know, whatever the case may be, you're making a personnel change. Maybe you want a guy that's a DB or safety to play linebacker or whatever. It depends on what your league allows. Um, Talking specifically about superstar abilities and X Factor abilities. Let's take JJ Watt for example. JJ Watt has Fearmonger, which is the applying pressure with like even if they're engaged in a block, they apply pressure. He's got Edge Threat Elite, and he's got those some other abilities. If you change him to D tackle, or if you change him from DN to D tackle back to DN, all of those abilities will change. They're not static. So theoretically, any position you could re-roll. So you could take Odell Beckham Jr. and maybe you don't like the rack him up X Factor ability he has. You can switch him to running back, switch him back to receiver, and he will get different traits.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, very weird, because I think that's going to force every league to ban position changes, and that the only thing you can change is depth chart.
Wow.
Right, because you're just going to have a bunch of dudes re-rolling their abilities until
They'll just have to fix that. I mean, that sounds like something that wouldn't be that hard of a. They just don't. The guys in Madden and EA, they just don't think about these things like we do because it's their job. They think about the like surface level stuff. They don't think, how can we poke holes in this thing that we've worked our ass on for our ass off for the last 8 months on. Like, they're not thinking like that. And then they get us in there who have been thinking of ways to manipulate the system. How can we get in here? Where can we really test the armor on this thing? And we're the ones that poke the holes in this game. And then, with the internet nowadays, a guy makes a YouTube video about it and everybody knows it. Then it becomes just a common thing. And that's how you break games.
Right, I get that, but there's this. Here's my nerd talk for JT and the Natural, some other software guys. They're software. I'm more networking. There's these terms called white box testing and black box testing, and pretty much the idea is you go out to a third party. Very similar, I would say, almost the EA Game Changers would be the first line of defense I would think of.
Those guys don't know what they're doing.
But my thought is you have guys that come in, and white box testing is more so software based to manipulate the internal structure, and design of it. Whether it's like blue team or red team testing, that's penetration testing. That's more towards but trying to find flaws and glitches and vulnerabilities. But in this scenario, they need a team, and I'm sure they do have teams that come in and they just try everything, because it took less than a day for us to figure this out. That you can re-roll. And obviously that's not necessarily a game-breaking glitch. It just doesn't exploit or make anybody's data vulnerable. So it's not like they're dropping big money. You know what I'm saying? Where the big bucks will get dropped is to make sure like people's credit card information and accounts and IP addresses are safe for the most part. But I think, and that's what the beta's for, right? Fair play to them. They did have a beta this year, and the previous years they haven't, and that's why you see horrible things when the live game drops. Obviously, this could be fixed, but it's pretty massive. Another thing is some of these traits. I think there needs to be some better definition of of some of these traits and how they're activated, or the specific things about it. So what I'm talking about specifically is most leagues stop interior linemen from playing edge, right? And they would stop edge rushers like Von Miller from playing user linebacker. Some leagues don't give a shit, but for most sim leagues say that's an edge rusher, he needs to play edge. That's an interior lineman, he can't put Aaron Donald at edge, he doesn't play edge. But this year, obviously there's outliers to every rule, right? And this is very specific to J.J. Watt. And I know this sounds like I'm bitching because I'm the Texans user in my Xbox League, but it pops some really good questions to me, which is J.J. Watt is an interior lineman by trade, but he obviously does it all in real life. But in the game, he's an interior guy. He is the only person in the entire game that has the edge threat elite trait, and it is specifically I'm going to read it to you here. I took a picture of it because I actually sent it to Mole and Guru to try and get their thoughts and opinions on it. It is edge threat elite. The only player that has is J.J. Watt. Defenders with this ability use dominant pass rush moves and apply significant QB pressure when rushing from the edge of the defense. So I'm trying to figure out, does that little last sentence, rushing from the edge of the defense, not really matter, that he gets the trait and he gets the dominant moves? Or does he have to be at the edge? And then what defines edge? Does that make sense? Like, does he just have to be going against the tackle? That's what Guru said. He said if you're an edge defender is considered the person that's engaged on the tackle. Okay.
That would make sense. That sounds like it would. I don't know about coding, but that sounds easier to code than just edge in general.
Right, and it would make more sense if they just would adopt that in the game. Is regardless of scheme, it's just like there's an edge rusher column, and then there's an interior lineman column or position group, and then if you just change your scheme, then the dynamics of those position groups change instead of making it as confusing as it is. But then you have to introduce the concept of hybrid defenses, and that could make it all funky. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt on the coding side. As to why the change hasn't been made. But that was what I was concerned about. I was like, wait, I just have to make sure J.J. Watt goes up against a tackle. Well, I can't really do that from the interior, from a 3-4, right? Or having him as an internal or interior lineman. So I posed the question to my league, and they're looking at it. But that's something to consider is, in the past, right, leagues ban that because if they say J.J. Watt, who does do it in real life, they're like, oh, okay, well, J.J. Watt can do it. And then somebody's like, well, if he can do it with J.J., I want to do it with Aaron Donald. And then somebody goes, well, if he's doing it with Aaron Donald, I want to do it with DeForest Buckner. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I think these superstar abilities for you CM guys out there and guys running your leagues, I think they set a very specific identifier. You know what I'm saying? It would be like, your defensive tackle can only line up at edge if they have this trait. And then that's the difference. So some guy can't go, oh, but he's doing it. No. He has that trait, and we're not going to let that trait go to waste, and that makes that player unique. And that's what I think they need to do more of, and that's what I like about these traits, is making all these players unique as shit throughout the franchise. There's no player like J.J. Watt in the league who can dominate on the edge and interior like that. So let him be that, you know? What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I think that was their main goal this year, was to make it so the guys weren't just these cookie cutter pieces that are just placed on random teams, that, you know, make a J.J. Watt feel like a J.J. Watt.
Right.
Now, is he playing at that same level in real life? That's debatable, but going by reputation and the things that he's done in the past, I think that he deserves to be a unique player in this game. And so I'm excited. Like I said, I haven't really dove into that side of it yet. My limited experience playing, I played a couple CPU games just to mess around today to see how the game felt. I didn't feel like I was going out of my way to try and activate Superstar X Factor abilities. It's one of those things that if it comes to me, I'll be like, oh, cool, let me try to take advantage of that. But I feel like what it could end up doing is making players giving them a little bit of tunnel vision and being like, oh, I've got this Superstar X Factor wide receiver. I need to get him in the zone, and I'm going to force feed him the ball to try and do this, because once I get him in the zone, then I can just, take over the game. Yeah. So I think that it could actually end up making players a little bit one-dimensional to play against in user versus user games. And kind of an interesting, so now in real life they do that too. In real life, you've got a guy like Julio Jones. You're going to build an offense around him. You're going to target him a lot, try to get him involved early and often. And the defense knows that, so it's easier. It's not easier to stop, but you have that going for you as far as the upper hand of knowing, like, oh, hey, this is a guy that they're going to be looking at a lot. Rather than in the past, it's just been like, I play as the Cowboys, I play the Giants all the time. I've seen plenty of users just ignore Odell Beckham Jr., but yet you assume that they're going to be going to him a lot. But it's so much easier just to take advantage of everybody else and just play through the offense, play through the play calls, find the open reads, and play that way. I'm actually hoping that it makes some players who were good at offense and good at going through reads maybe regress a little bit through the novelty of activating a superstar.
Yeah, I think some of it can be traps. I just finished a game as the Chiefs with Mahomes, and once I got
how many picks did you throw?
2. It wasn't too much. So we went up early, and then it's like 11 o'clock where we were recording this, so we were this is a buddy from my league, so we're just kind of dicking around and having some fun with it. But I put Mecole Hardman, obviously I'm familiar with him in the offense with PML. Just so much fucking speed. And once I got that zone ability, I got that one deep ball, and it was great. But for him, he just overcommitted to the deep pass because I can now chuck it 85 yards. And that you're right, it just opens everything underneath. So it's all the smart players will know how to manipulate a guy in the zone, especially on the offensive side, because obviously that's where the attention is going to go. Now, I think the more OP-ness comes from the guys that get it on the defensive line. Guys like Geno Atkins, Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox. Those guys, there's not a damn thing you can do. Just hope to God that somebody gets open in the first couple seconds. Otherwise, it's a wrap.
Well, that's all CPU-controlled players. Unless you're using them, that's all CPU. So it's like you just are, at the mercy of Madden.
Right. But you feel that, and it forces that extra layer. It's a game within a game, and that's what I like. Yeah. So gameplay. Let's talk a little bit about gameplay. You said you played CPU. I played almost all users. We actually have a top Madden invitational tournament going on. So we have some competitive games on the Xbox going on just to try and get us in those weird environments and see – a lot of different teams. It's all random teams that you have to pick and everything. So we've been having some fun. One of the things I've noticed is, and that I think needs a fix, trajectory feels great. Ball trajectory, the throws feel great. But I do feel like what's suffering is some of the zone coverage play. I still think that those late developing routes. Like, yeah, we can clear the linebackers, which is good, but we now need to address the top end of the shell of each defense, because it's really, once you get behind somebody, you could just carve them up for big yards. And I think man coverage is playing a lot better, but zone, I think, needs a big fix, and how quickly some of these DBs react, because the seams are open all day.
Interesting. It's one of those things, I don't want them to tweak it too much, but
it's definitely day one.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I want it to be hard to pass. I don't want it to be easy. I want you to have to make, good reads. I want you to have to throw it to guys in a questionable position and hope that you can place it there now with the trajectory, with maybe a little bit more touch. I saw a fade. Somebody posted a video of their fade working. Like, I want to have to rely on unique passing plays like that. I want to be able to, read a matchup and take advantage of it. I don't want to just sit there and have a zone just be wide open because, Joe Schmo's a 72 with 54 awareness and, is making plays that don't belong on a high school football field.
Right. You can feel if there's a good player in a side. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw a guy running cover 2. He had his backup strong safety in. I had Will Fuller down the right sideline, so I threw a fade. I threw the more, not a streak, but the fade route. But I threw it on a rope right after it cleared the corner, and he didn't get there in time. Whereas before, it always felt like if you threw that ball, it was going to be a pick every time. The safeties just reacted extremely well. So I think it does force more reads. Once again, I don't want the trajectories to be fixed. I think they're perfectly fine where they are. I just kind of felt like, and once again, they may just be a result of it being really early. Offense is going to kind of dominate early within these periods as you kind of learn the game. You learn what you can and can't do. So maybe I shouldn't call for a patch, but that was my first reaction there. Swerve running. Do you remember swerve running from Madden 18?
Yeah.
Swerve running is back. Well, we're not back like it was. The momentum isn't nearly as bad, but I had a really big game running against my buddy by pretty much using that old technique, which is just not really worrying about juke moves. Once they get in the open field, just kind of swerving around.
Running at them and then just back outside. Interesting. I know that they said that I saw that there was supposed to be more responsiveness from the DBs when you're trying to like sort of click on. I wonder if messing with that made it to where, the magnet pull or whatever is a little bit too strong or something.
Right. And like I mentioned in the beta when we talked about it, it feels like there's a lot of like, even when you're close quarters with people, you're not getting suction tackled. So there's a lot more maneuverability. I love that, especially for like the big running back guys. Like, you don't just get suctioned every time. Every run play doesn't either break for 20 or you get suctioned or animation for a couple yards. Feels like you have a little bit of control even though you're inside the trenches. So that's great. The only downside I see to having that lack of suction is just when you're chasing somebody down the open field. You remember how like you just like end up running straight behind them and you can't really dive and you can't really do anything. There was quite a bit of that today. Kind of felt like there was some pretty poor angles or opportunities where the CPU could have made a tackle and they decided not to. Just kind of ran behind them for 10 to 15 yards. So we'll see how they address that to see if that needs any patching. But all in all, I had fun. I played a lot of games, and I got into a competitive couple ones, so I got frustrated. But I wasn't really frustrated at the game so much as it's just me. I just didn't know how to play defense, so that's good. The trajectories felt great. Found myself going, yep, that should be a pass, a completed pass, even though it cleared my linebacker. So super excited about that. Did you test any other game modes? Did you do Face of Franchise at all?
No, I haven't actually.
You don't even get to do the 40-yard dash, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, man. It's just like throwing drills in the combine. I hate to spoil that. Yeah, it definitely. So I played, and I play for USC. I haven't gotten too far into it. I did watch some YouTube videos of it, and it is cool that you can change the way your guy's face looks and stuff like that. But It's fairly short. I'm already at the national championship game, which means all I have to do is do this quick combine that doesn't even involve doing a 40-yard dash and the broad jump and the vertical leap. It's just some throwing drills that are going to take 10 to 15 minutes to do, and then you're drafted. I do know that you can get drafted to different teams, so that's cool. I've seen like the Dolphins, and I've seen the Raiders. I haven't seen so many others, but so that's cool. But I mean, at the end of the day, that was kind of their thing, and it just seems almost as dead in the water as long shot. Like you do it one time, and then there's not much replay value after that. You instantly go to a team, you instantly start, and you're in the Pro Bowl your first season, pretty much no matter what your rookie season looks like. So
yeah.
That's
a shame because I was excited for long shot the first season, and then
you were excited.
I was intrigued by it. Didn't even touch the second one. And I kind of got the same vibe from this. I just didn't really feel like it was that. I'm too old to waste my all day playing video games by myself. Like I only like playing video games when I get to actually like beat somebody on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So if they made it like that to where like, you know, you and a couple other of your buddies were all like going into the draft at the same time together, and like that would be cool to me. And you had to, you know, just be like the quarterback of your team. You didn't actually make all of the other moves, so you have to sit there and you all criticize the awful moves that your team makes or something like that. That would be interesting to me, but I don't want to just play quarterback myself.
You actually play the whole game. You control everybody. So you throw a pass, you can control the receivers afterwards, you control all the play calling. It just seemed weird for them to say, we're going to put you in this world where you're the rookie quarterback of an NFL franchise and live it out as how they would live it out. And then it's just you're choosing all the plays, you're controlling the offense and the defense. And it's just like, well,
that's
okay,
weird.
Yeah, not really doing anything different. It's just you have some animations now. So I don't know. I thought it was going to be a step in the right direction. I think we're back to just kind of wasting our time, and I know that's unfair to say after I've only played half of it, but it's just not as in depth as you would like it. So maybe that's something down in the future to get more in depth. Maybe this was a test drive to see how it would work. But you really should be pushing out test drive features as main features in the game.
This would be something that they should push out as like a DLC in like March or April.
Right.
When everybody's bored, and then you can like re-hype up your game again, revive your game in the deadest time of the year, and give us a chance to play some different kind of mode, and let us tell you, hey, this mode is cool, we'd like to see more, or this mode sucks, stop wasting your time.
So, and this is something, I think, dude, that's a great point. And the reason why is I've always hated these things where it drafts you into the current season. Yeah. So, because, like, it just completely ignored. It's for the Raiders, right? The Raiders get 3 draft picks in this draft in Nashville, and they do the draft, and the guy got picked as the 3rd first-round pick for the Raiders, but they also had the dude that they picked originally. So basically the Raiders essentially just magically get 4 first-round picks, you know,
wow.
Because they're bringing you in and the other player. Like, they're not just going to, like, make that player go on another team now, right? He's a Raider, so he has to be represented in the game as a Raider. So they get an extra first-round pick in the current universe, and you just happen to replace Derek Carr. I think it makes more sense to wait throughout the season, right? You're right. Once the season is over in February, right?
Yeah.
Have all that information, and they already do it in the game because you can start a franchise at any week in real life season, and it has all the current stats. So then you just start it there as the next year's draft, and you're a rookie in the next year's draft. Yeah. And they don't have the rights to use that draft class that's coming in, so you just use it like this. And then you're right. And since it's so short, we're not talking about something that is a 5 to 6 month long content piece like My Player or something like that in 2K. Talking about something that you can literally complete in, it's one season. You can literally do it in a week or two if you really wanted to. So now you're a rookie in the next slide, and you just use the data and information of the worst team that needs a quarterback, and that's your highest percentage teams of getting drafted to. Versus, that is what makes sense to me. So I think that's a good point from you. Why don't they hire us, dude? Would you go work for EA?
Yeah, I would pick up my family tomorrow and
go to Orlando.
Yeah, and I hate the humidity. I would deal with it because I've been playing this game since I was like 6, 7 years old.
For me, it depended on how much I actually got to say. I know that's not fair because I bet
Yeah.
everybody at EA feels like they should have a say. But like, I wouldn't go if I like sat in a meeting and they were like, "Great idea. We'll look at that for future titles," and then I would like, "Oh, so that's how this goes," you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some talented folks on their team, so but
Yeah.
I think they could use us. I think they could use us too. I mean,
I mean, why aren't they listening? I mean, they could save a lot of money and just listen to the podcast.
listen,
Somebody tag them with a link.
I think they are. Remember, I was bitching about QB running. I got QB running.
Oh, that's right.
About pump fake. I got pump fake. Was bitching about a lot of things, and I got most of them. Trajectory. So, you know, now we have to delete the User Academy podcast and redo it because that shit's out the window. The old. I'm gonna rechange the title. Old version, legacy version. So pretty brutal. But all in all, dude, I think it was a good first day. I'm excited to get back into it. Some surprise rookie guys that had some hidden dev traits. Guys like Andy Isabella, I believe, has a hidden dev trait.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Yeah, did you see I posted a video with all those I went through. That was what I spent a lot of my time doing today.
Yep. So
I was kind of shocked at a couple of guys that didn't have them, like Jerry Tillery for the Chargers, but Nazir Adderley had one. So
Yep. TJ Hawkinson, a hidden dev trait.
He was a superstar too.
Yep. Well, I think hidden, and if I'm not mistaken, hidden means either superstar
Star or superstar. Yeah.
No, not star or superstar. It means superstar or superstar X Factor.
No. All of these are stars. Half of them are stars.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
None of them were X Factors, and none of them after one season, after simulating two different franchises all the way through, nobody got X Factor.
That seems odd that an entire draft class doesn't get X Factor.
I wonder if it's something that maybe you get in your second year. Maybe you need more than just one season of playing. I don't know. It's something I'd like to continue to lab with and see how easy it is to manipulate.
Yep, we'll be labbing that. As always, my league, we lab XP. We try and get as realistic XP sliders as we can. So where position groups that go against each other tend to match each other.
It seemed like everybody went up quite a bit from just the stock XP from the ones that I was doing.
Well, everybody sucks now, so
that's true. Yeah. Everybody. Well, then there's quite a few star development guys just throughout the league. Which I know I guess it's technically the second level of development, so it is a fancier word for quick development, but it feels like there's quite a few stars in the league, like guys that are just seem like fringe players, even at some point, are star players that are developing at a kind of rapid rate for a guy that seems to have a ceiling or so that's above average.
Right.
So we'll see how that works.
Yeah. So keep labbing. I think we got another one here soon. We have a very, very, very special guest. It's never been on the podcast before, coming up early next week. Hopefully me and you can knock out another one after maybe a week of labbing some more. I know this is kind of a brief look. We just wanted to get one knocked out and put out so people can kind of hear our first thoughts, maybe share with us what they thought. Tweet at NFL Retweet and just spam him with shit and get him to 2,000 or 200,000 followers, right? Is that what you're reaching towards?
Yeah, that's a long way away still.
Hey, you can do it, buddy. You got this far. You could do it. I don't want to keep my wife from watching Euphoria any longer than I already have. So we're going to go watch Rue shoot up some heroin.
Word.
Obviously, if nobody's watched the show, they don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway.
I've never even heard of that.
Zendaya. Oh my God, she's just butchered her name. Anyways, thanks for joining me. I know it was quick. I know it seems rushed, but just want to get your initial raw thoughts out there, raw, uncut PML podcast after dark thoughts on day one. So thanks for popping in, bro. Get some sleep. You got the twins waking up.
Yeah, you
probably in an hour.
Yep. 2 hours maybe.
Oh, jeez.
I just stay up, man. It's easier to stay up.
All right. Well, you better. Hey, and for you PlayStation folks that don't know, okay, do not do one trial of EA Access. Get a burner account. Spend another $5. Okay, it's worth it. Get 20, get 30 hours of EA Access. Okay, do it. And you can always just cancel at the end. Get your money back from EA Access for your subscriptions. Just pro tip from the Xbox side. We've been doing this for a minute. So I heard somebody say, I don't want to do all my 10 hours in one day. Nah, dude. Blow through it and spend another $5. Should be good. So there you go. All right, that's all I got.
I didn't know that, so.
Yeah, dude. You catch the best tips from Finn here on the PMO podcast. That's all I'm trying to say. Tips that even lead to my own demise. So, all right, guys. Catch y'all next week.